Welcome. I am Cry Queen. If you are joining us for the first time, this is the channel where we have fun with words and numbers, numerology to be precise. And this is where we are all about getting reconnected to the divine feminine. I am coming out with it this way right now. I am following my intuition, and that is how it is flowing. And of course, here we are talking about Mother Eve. We are talking about Mother Eve. According to my last presentation as well, we have seen how the divine feminine, the divine masculine, excuse me, have have all the symbols of our makeup in that sense that we have been giving our energy and attention to that part of our makeup, to the part of the hierarchical symbol, the phallic, and we have seen that perhaps it is time for us to not perhaps let us not compromise this statement here. It is now time for us to be nursing ourselves and finding that balance. It is really like we have the scale. It's like the justice scale, you know. We of course we never seem to get it perfect all in one go, but it's the dance of life that we are talking about. It's the dance of equilibrium that we are endeavoring to facilitate. So basically, we are now seeing that we the calling is there for us to nurse our hearts. Now, according to the presentation that I just did and I watched the video, is that we see that waters from the scriptures. We are looking at Genesis of chapter 1, verse 3 to 4. Let's just say from verse 1 to 3 or 1 to 4. Of course, we see on the second verse where God there was the waters, and the spirit of God moved upon the face of the deep, and the waters were mentioned there. So we see that the waters were already into existence. This is what really is so vital that we pay attention to. And the waters here, of course, for the numerous presentations I have done, which I won't really go into doing those again, but waters in numerology equals Eve. Eve and waters and Cries are all on the same numerical value of 5. So in case you are new to this channel, this is Mother Eve, of course, and here is a symbol of the fruit that she ate. Of course, now we see from doing this, we talk about having that bridge. There's the nostrils, and we have that bridge. And we have now, of course, like I have my glasses on, we have taught to look through those eyes, look at life through these eyes. And so if we don't see life as clear as we learn through our other senses, or we have or remembered in bringing that memory or trying to bring that memory into the present, we wear glasses instead of following the bridge of these two channels, these columns here, instead of following that bridge that takes us into the third eye. Now, that's what we had not learned about. And that's what I believe, according to the words, according to the maths that I have done here, that's exactly what Mother Eve did. She ate, ATE equals 8. Right here, she ate of the fruit. The fruit we learn is an apple. I don't think the word apple is in the Bible, but we have been learning all about this, that it's an apple. The apple is used, of course, symbolically and numerically to really show us that it is the number 5, because when we do the numerical value for the word apple, it also equals 5. Now there's the gist about this. When Christ came, and of course we learned that Christ his teaching was all in parables, all about parables. But there's the thing about if you are in Christ, you are a new creature. Of course, Christ speaks about creatures. Now, there's the other thing again, talking about creature. He said you are a new creature. When we look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 20 or 21, this is where God called the creatures that had life out of the waters. Were we that creature? Were we that great creature that was called out of the waters? It's like saying life had already, of course, life had already existed in the waters. Hence, we know that life, water is life. We are 70, 80% water. I say 80 as well, because there's something about it, because it holds everything in shape. It holds, it is set. It actually equals the word set as well, and which is 1 7. 1 is 17. And 17 is the exact equation or numerical value as God. So God set sounds like ancient Greek mythology. Okay, but still it is coinciding with this. So God set like a pattern. It was like that one, that's 17. Or when we add 1 plus 7, it becomes 8. And so there is that pattern. Now something is coming to mind. It's like saying that would mean that it was a new cycle. It was a cycle because 8 is really a cycle of heaven and earth. Okay, so I have done quite a few presentations showing that the green for the earth, so to speak, equals 31, and the blue for the sky equals 13. They both equals 4. 4 plus 4 is 8, and we could say, okay, that which denotes infinity, the number 8 in our existence, that is the set. We are set in that parameter of God, the God parameter. Okay, so basically, we see that Eve ate of the fruit. If we do it or ate is the same thing, it equals 8. And when you were in Christ, you were a new creature. So this new hair is what gives it away altogether. Now, if you are new as well, I would say do watch my videos on sacrifice, because this template all derive from the word sacrifice. Of course, it is the numerical values of 1 to 9, and of course the letters of the alphabet, which all coincide, numerically speaking, with each letter of the alphabet, these numbers here. Now, the other thing as well, I must say that I have manipulated the position of some of those letters to make it easier to remember their values, because I'm about having fun, and it was all about fun, but this in itself has rippled into something very profound, more than fun. Profound, F-O-U. Yes, so fun is in profound. Yes, of course. All right, so that has happened, and to show that when we are in our early stage or the cycles, now I am beginning to understand that the 1 to 9 are cycles on top of cycles. Or if we were to say 1 to 8, like I've just said, it's a cycle. The cycle is 1 to 8, but 8 needs to break to form into get into that 9 shape. It's like the mother is 8 months pregnant, but she can't birth until she gets to that 9 months. Okay, we know the odd, well, not odd, but frequent enough. Those situations happen that someone gives birth whether it's with medical assistant, but it has to break. It has to break. The birthing is a form of um, breaking. It's once you have birthed, whether it was 8 months, 7 months, or whatever it is, you have done the nine. You have done the nine. That is symbolically what it's all about. So basically, you are a new creature. Of course, Christ spoke parables. The creature, we say, what is the creature? Is it a fox? Is it a lamb? Is it a five-pointed star? Is it a starfish? What is it? Okay, so we have fox because we are using letters here as the symbols to guiding us as though they were lampposts, as though they were traffic signs to help us navigate our path. Okay, so the fox here now is it equals 9, 3 sixes, 18, 1 plus 8 is 9 because all these come under the same numerical value of 6. Of course, is the F. That's how Facebook has done it. Facebook have birthed, and every time we go on there, we are birthing our energies on Facebook. So you can imagine that, well, you can imagine. Okay, so that's what Facebook is about. So, and that's what Fox TV is about. That's what a fox, because that's the cunning, the craftiness or intelligence of the fox. That's what it is. So when you are in Christ, Christ is more or less like saying, you better be like a fox. You better be like a fox. Okay. So, of course, depending where you are geographically, nowadays in London, and I keep saying, in fact, it was broad daylight last week about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's this fox, near the traffic lights as if it lived there, it had an address. Well, it probably did. Okay, so there we are talking about. So when you are in Christ, you are a new creature. We have seen number 5, how it correlates with the word mouth. Mouth is also 5. We also see how 5, of course, you go up to the bridge. I think the word bridge is either 11. I say 11 because it comes like this, but it also could be 9 because 9 again, it's like birthing. Let's just get the bridge. Take every time I say bridge, I remember James Brown. Bridge. Okay, I won't attempt to even start with the bridge. Okay, so BRIDGE. This is 5 7. You may not see this, but trust me, it's there. Trust in me. This is the Jungle Book. I just love Jungle Book. Okay, so 992. So 992, this is how I count. And if you follow me, you would know by now I count how my eyes dance because it's all about the dance. Okay, so this is 9 and 9, 18 and 2, 20. And 12, that would be 32 and 6 would be 32 and 4 is 36. My brain goes ahead of me sometimes. Well, not quite ahead. So 36, it's 9. So I have got a good memory in essence. Okay, so the bridge is 9. So there was James Brown talking about take me to the bridge. Is more or less saying, I need to birth a new thing. I need to take me there for this new phase. I think that's what it was about. I have a way of putting my own words in the songs, and perhaps it's not even bridge, but that's what has registered in my psyche. And so, as I say, everything that we have registered, it stays there. Okay, so back to Mother Eve. So this is the bridge. So we are talking here about this again. This number 1 to 9. The 9 is more or less reminding us of the end of the cycle that we need to birth here and to get into the third eye. And of course, the number 3 is perfect multiple equation or number for 9. 3 is 9. Now, the other thing that I have been looking at, because I kind of now try to familiarize myself with my body. I try to count the spaces and the circles and things that I should have done, or perhaps I did, but don't remember. But I think it's important to remember now because that's what it's about. We need to remember. We need to remember the path. We need to remember the games. We need to remember the numbers so we can find our way back. The numbers are so important that we remember them because your house is a number, your street is a number, your code is a number, your phone are numbers, your date of birth comes as a number. Everything is numbers, 2 hands, 2 legs. We refer to everything as numbers. So it's important that we remember. And that's what I believe this 9 is all about, helping us to remember. This circle here, for instance, this part of the 9, it's like the stroke below is telling us that this is where what you need to use to navigate yourself. Find something like it, like Emmett Fox would say, something like itself on which to attach. Oh, this is so delicious. Find something like itself on which to attach itself to. I'm almost wanting to cry on this because this is just so wonderful. Looking at this number 9. So wouldn't 9 really look like your nostril, part of the 9? That circle here? Or your mouth? Or the circle of your eye? Or your ear? And we know all the parts of the circles of our bodies, or circles of the other parts of our bodies. So this is what we are talking about. And through those circles, we are always birthing newness. We are always birthing newness through our circles. Everything we see, we are birthing a new information, a new sight, a new character, a new meaning. When we breathe in or breathe out, it's a new birth. It's that channel. They like channels. We are both our mouth. We put in, we take out. We breathe out of our mouths, or we eat, or we speak. In fact, I have been paying attention to how the tongue even behaves in the mouth. The tongue either pushes the air out, or it also sometimes cup the vibration in. And so we see how we are birthing all the time. It's like in and out. It's just so delicious. Okay, so I'm wanting to explore Genesis of chapter 1, verse 1 to 4, but there we see, and God, of course, created, and yes, it was about the lights now in Genesis of chapter 4, if I clearly remember. Of course, why shouldn't I remember? I am looking at the timer and I'd like to do this on about 20 minutes, but we are also looking at that, and God separated the lights, and there was the light, and he created lights, or the 2 lights, so meaning the sun and the moon. Okay, so of course, this is really wonderful because I have been thinking about the spirit of sound mind that we have been given. We have also been given. So I have been looking at the word sun in parallel as the sun. So we have our sons, but they are really, because I have a son, and there we say, oh, the person is the apple of your eye. There we see the word apple again. Apple of the eye again. So apple is 5 and eye is 8. So we are seeing right here the symbol or the significance of what we say when this person or that person is the apple of your eye. Okay, the apple of the eye. the sun. And a sun, this is what I see as Christ. Christ was the sun. The sun, of course, we learn the Son of God, but also the sun. He is the light because he said, meaning Christ said, don't you know you are the light of the earth? You are the light of the world, not earth. I think it's the world. You are the light of the world. Let me rectify this. So you are the light of the world. So there you are the sun of the world. Hence, again, nothing can come into our consciousness unless it finds something like itself on which to attach itself to. So if we have the understanding of the sun that we look up to the sky, that means there's the resonance, not just the resonance, we are the sun, basically. This is the external projection of who we are. Hence, we are able to identify with it. So I have been wondering, well, what about the daughters? So, so I was looking at the story of, this is really funny, the story of Job. And I was looking at the story of Job, of course, after going through all his calamities. And in the end, he had gained his 10 children, which there were seven. There were seven sons. Now, the seven sons could all denote as well the 7th day of creation. Everything that was done in creation had light to it, so they were sons. They're part of who we are. So it's as if to say we have the seven sons within us, which reminds me that that could also go in direct relation to the 7 planets, the 7 visible planets in our makeup. Oh, this is lovely. It's just lovely. So delicious. Then I am thinking about, well, what about the daughters? The daughters. So, um, okay. So there was the sun, and God created 2 great lights. The sun, one to rule by day and the other to rule by night. Of course, the night would be the moon. Of course, we know we see the moon in the daytime as well. Some people are not quite aware that happens as well, but it is more visible in the night for us. Okay, so the sun, the moon, yeah. So I'm thinking about the moon. Of course, there is mothers. Everything M is related, is in direct relation to the moon, we could say. It is that movement, it is that mother, it is that. Hence, women go through the cycle, the menstrual cycle, the 31 days. In fact, I did come across something about I did with the number 31, but let's see if I've got it here. Okay, we don't want to stray too much from the subject itself, but I just want to say that I was thinking about the moon, and maybe as per usual, in numerical value, it does help to give me more meaning to things. So here we have 6 and 6, 12, and 5 and 4 would be 11. So 12 and 11 would be 23. Oh my, oh my, 23. Oh, 23. Let me double check this. They're the 2 eyes. I've got to do this. We are going to go over the 20. If we're on 20, perhaps I'll have to do another presentation on that because I am just so moved with this. So it's So this is 4, this is 6, this is 6, and this is 5. So 6 plus 5 is 11, and 6, 11, and let's say this is 10. So this is 21. It's 21. Oh, it's 21. Ah, okay. That makes sense. Let's double check. This is 664. That's correct. 664 and 5. All right. So this is 11, and 6 plus 4 is 10. 6 plus 4 is 10. It's 21, not 23. I was really like freaking out because the number 23 has been talking to me. So that's another story altogether. So 21, okay. So 21, of course, the sun is number 9. That's what I mean. The sun is 9. When we do the numerical value for the sun, it's 9. And then we have 3, which is multiple. It's how's the word? We can multiply. It's 3 by 9. It's 3 threes are 9. You get the gist of how I'm putting this right now. But it's the um, direct multiple. Oh, okay. I'm not going to struggle with it. You know what I mean. Okay. So like I was saying here, for instance, the 9 is here, and we had bridge as well, which is also 9. And so we see that the sun, so the bridge and the sun there's the connection. That's another thing I'm talking about. There is the direct thing Emmett Fox have been talking about with the bridge to the third eye, number 3, the third eye. All these are interrelated. So we see how 3, the moon, and the sun and the bridge are all interrelated because, of course, God created uh, out of the light. It's as if there was a division of light. So there have to be a relationship with moon and sun naturally. Okay, so going back to my thing about daughters. So I was thinking, I remember that I had this insight that we are dots. We are dots. In essence, like uh, physicists or scientists or whoever all these bright people are, they'll tell you that we are just vibrations. We are like patterns of bacteria. Just let's put it that way. We are just patterns of these vibrations, those dots, particles. Okay, so this is how it came to me that we are dots. Now, dots, when I did the numerical value for dots, it equals 13. Okay, just to give you a little gist of it here, DOTS. So that's 1, 2, 6, 4. And this is 10 and 3, 13. So 13, when we add 1 plus 3, it equals 4. But we see that this is where the magic really happens, is in number 13. That's where the magic it's the incubation for magic. It is the incubation for creativity. It's the incubation for life, because 13 is so it's really just magical. Hence, Christ was at the table with his disciples, 12 disciples, including himself, which he would be seen as a disciple in the higher realm, because he came to discipline others, meaning a disciple can only teach other disciples. That's what he is. You can only teach what you are. So basically, we see that number 13 comes where harmony, agreement, partnership, fellowship, connection, all of those things happen, which forms that letter B. B is really 13. This is where bonding happens. That's the breast, that's the buttocks, that's the two nostrils, the two eyes, the two lips, the two hemispheres of the brain. That is where B happens. So that 13 is that's the incubation of life. Okay, so we could also say this is where God saw Eve. God looked upon the face of the deep or the face of the water, because when we do the numerical value for water, water is really 4. As in 13, as revelation, the word revelation equals 13. And revelation reveals everything. But revelation has to be uncovered to be revealed, to reveal whatever is, meaning everything is. IS, which is 10, in essence, 10. Okay, so there we are talking about number 13, number 2, and we see how number 2 meaning, and that's why they had the story of Adam and Eve, or Cain and Abel, or Samson and Delilah. There was always, or Sheba and Queen of Sheba and Samson, always two, or Esau and Jacob, always two. So here we have 2 nines as well. The 9 of the bridge, going to the 9 of the third eye, the sun, and the third eye. The word I, of course, equals 8. But we have seen how it breaks, it bursts once it is activated. Once it is activated, it breaks into that 9. So this is what we are learning here in Genesis of chapter 1, verse 3 and 4. So we are looking at the 2 lights. So daughters, I may have to come back to this. So I was looking at daughters. Let's just do the numerical value for the word daughters. Oh, that reminds me, of course. Oh my. So daughters equals 4. I have done the numerical value for that. But if it were daughter, because it's daughter, because we are talking about son, singular, or son or son. So 1 is 3. This is the other thing. So SON, let me get a pen. That really gives me. So here, oh, okay. Surely I must have a pen that writes well. Okay. Okay, so we are talking about, I'm not so sure, I'll get it from here. Okay, there we are. Okay, need to be optimistic. So this is 165. When we add this is really 12. I'm just going, of course, with this, it's 5 plus 6 plus 1. So that's 12. 1 plus 2, 12. We add the 2 digits together, that equals 3. So there's the sun. This is what we are talking about. So the sun here, in this sense, is also in direct correlation with the moon. Now, that's what I've been talking about, that Christ as the sun, he came to talk about the feminine aspect here, the moon, the nurturing of his mother, the cycle, the softness, the gentleness, the 3 vibration. That's what Christ was about, that 3 vibration, that particle that just, that worm. I call it the worm. And Christ also made reference to, there's double 3 on the screen as well. The 3, Christ made reference to worm, which equals 3, 21. The 2 plus 1. And here is 1 plus 2. So Christ was, of course, parables to make us look, to make us uncover, to make us see. So we're talking about 3 here. Now, when we do the numerical value for SUN, it is 9. SUN which is 5, 3, 1. So 5 plus 3 is 8 plus 1 is 9. So there we have the sun or the sun. There is that it's as if we are as suns, vibrational frequency of the sun. But could it be the other way round, that sun up there is the vibrational frequency of that which we are? Now, it doesn't matter either way, according to Emmett Fox. Nothing can come into your consciousness unless it finds something like itself on which to attach itself to. So we are just mirrors of the same vibration. We are on the same frequency, basically. So if you want to say, okay, it was that 9, the sun up there, well, take 3 suns, 3 suns, and add them up. 3 3 is 9, and then that would be the sun up there in the sky. You get the gist of what I am saying. Now, the other thing I'm still going on about the daughters. You see how the daughters have been hidden. But that is all right because they are depicting the divine goddess, the divine mother, the hidden element of that which we are. Now I am beginning to understand why it seemed that we have been at the hot end of the pan, so to speak. But it is just designed that way. Not to mean that we are less, although we had been indoctrinated to and perceive that way or to see ourselves that way, so we behave accordingly. Because unless we buy into that kind of thinking that we are less, we can't really perceive ourselves less. So we had bought into that frequency of seeing ourselves as such, as female, for instance. But now we have discovered that we are not fulfilled, and for us to be fulfilled is to really be able to find a way of expressing that wonderfulness, that finesse, that gentleness, the nurturing, the love, the gentleness of giving, receiving, and all of the wonderful things that we provide or we symbolize. And to do that is to accept that we have not been able, or we have not been in a position, or not put ourselves in a position to express the fullness of that which we are. Now, for us to do that, we have to align or connect with the divine masculine. We have to connect. We have to understand on what premise, or we have to see what is needing, what is necessary, what is lacking, or where our purpose lie within that parameter. So, oh, this is just so delicious because while I am talking about it, it's like I am feeling my sense of purpose is really establishing itself. That giving, that care, the R, the C and the R. So when we say care, C-A-R-E, it's really the arch, the C, of that which we are. We are the sea, the ocean, the feminine divine, the sea. That's what care is about. So it's the acknowledgement of who we are, our makeup, the water that we can bath the male with, the water that we can nurture them with, we can feed them with, we can heal them with. That is so important for us as females to find our place in the earth, in our world, to be able to do that, to be able to say or acknowledge that we have so much to share. It's not about that, oh, something so delicious has come. There's so much coming to my mind now. So it is often said that we operate on 30% of what we have. That 30%, for instance, we are looking at the 30%. It's even if we were to say, okay, it is the three of the third of, it's the third of everything. What happens to the 2/3 of what is left to have? So it's 1/3 of the sun. We are using 1/3 of the sun. We are using 1/3. Yes, 30% would be. I'm just thinking, am I doing the percentage correctly? Okay. Yes, but near enough. Yes. So we are using 1/3 of whatever it is that we have. So the 2/3 of that which we are, what happens to it? What happens to the 2/3 that is left untapped? And that's what we are. We are ready to acknowledge that. Okay, I have been going on 41 minutes now, but it just seemed like, sometimes you may decide to do something, but then you need to understand that obedience to the Spirit that guides and yields to nurture, which is just what we've been saying. So we have been conditioned to say, okay, we're going to do 20 minutes here. But now there's an acknowledgement to embrace 40 minutes and say, okay, it's 40 minutes. Embrace all that which we are. This is just um okay, this is another thing I have learned now. Again through numerology, the to laugh and to smile, because smile actually, I think smile equals 9 too. Smile, no, is 22, because I have got a good memory. Smile is 22. Smiles would be 5, of course, coinciding with Mother Eve as well. Laugh, again, is 22. But this is another thing that 4, it sets it. 4. Smile and laugh add together is 8. So we are setting something. So now I am sharing this insight with you, and we're going to end on this and come back to this, because we had to go with spirit. So I had this it was only today as well. It's only today because I was going over my notes, and of course, I saw that the word smile is synonymous with the word miles. And then that makes sense, because you smile and it travels, the vibration, it just goes miles, miles. It's not the miles on your clock, on your motor when you're driving. But of course, you smile when you get to your destination anyway. And so it all coincides, So smile and laugh, they both equals 22. Now, again, I have done presentations on that which coincide with Sarah's story, the story of Sarah and Abraham, you know. So we won't go too much into that, but there was the insight was about the HA or AH, and ha 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 ha. That is ha 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 ha. This is the 9 vibration we are birthing. That was an insight. That was revelation in its purity, just birthing, like, I was just birthing quadruplets and triplets and more triplets. I was just birthing. So that's what that revelation was about. So when you laugh and you smile, you add these together. And even if you didn't add it, because the number 4, 22, that is vibration. Now remember, I have just also said that the number 2 is really 13. Now 13 is 4. So we have 2 of these numbers here. Now if we added 13 plus 13, that would be 26. 2 plus 6 equals 8. Now there's where we are doing God. We are actually doing God when we hinge onto this 13. Because this 13, as I say, it's the place where we are. It's the incubation of vibration. That came from number 5. I need to remember when these words really come out and they ripple out like that, they are coming from Mother Eve, the divine feminine that is ready to nurture and give and embrace and protect and love and hold and yield and heal. So this is what we are talking about. So the inside here, which is in love, the double number 2, master number 22, which equals 4, comes under that 2 vibration, like Cries. It is hidden in that number 13 vibration. It's as if 13 has, it's the alchemist. 13 is the alchemist. It can change anything into anything. And that is what the divine feminine wants to help us see. How we can be nursed, how we can find a place of incubation for newness of life. Like the bee, how we can, this is where that first learning came to me, the beehive, the business, the beehive. It is ready to die to birth newness. That's where the incubation is. And there's an incubation period there. Period. 31. So there we are talking about the feminine cycle again. 31 days of that menstrual cycle, and there's the reverse of it in Revelation, which is in direct correlation to number 13 as revelation here on the number 2. So we see, I have not forgotten about daughters, but this is where in that direct correlation of the word daughters come to number 13 or 31. So let's just do the word daughters and really get daughters. We're going to do daughters and daughters. Okay. And I know it's a long presentation, but I'm going along with it. Daughther. And we could do the S. Let's just do the S. The S is that vibration. Okay, S is like 3. S is like, S is like 3. It has that vibration. It's, I do want to hold on to this terminology as 3. 3 is that instrument. I'm going to have to go over my how it came out, but it's that modifier. We'll get it. Okay, so come on, pen. So this is 1 9 5 2 8 7 3, 1, 4. Now let's add this up. Now I add like this. So this 1 and 9, 10, 10 and here's another 10, that's 20. 2 plus 8, 10, so that's 20. And 7 and 3 is 10, so that's 30. 35 here and 5, that's 40. So that is 4. So there we see daughter is 3, daughters is, so here Job had 3 daughters. 3 daughters. So 3 3s would be 9. Now, even if we were to look at 4 as that's what Job had. He had 4. It would have been the daughters. This is the thing with what Job had. He had daughters to give him that stability because that's what they did in those days. They would have their daughters as their prize. They would be so beautiful. They would sell their daughters. They sold their daughters. Period. Period. 31, which is 4. There we see where the word period really derived from. I may have done the numerical value, but period as in menstrual cycle would be equal to daughters. So the menstrual cycle is that it is feminine, it is the cycle, the female, the divine feminine, and it is that, oh my, I hope we can get an end to this presentation. Not that it matters to me right now. And it's no wonder again, that's why blood seems to be so symbolic in all these transactions. Let's say it, transactions. Blood is energy. It is the energy. It's what, at the end of the day, that is what is being exchanged. This is, I don't know, exchange. This is what is being sold. Hence, we hear about the blood of Christ because we are talking about sacrifice back to Christ. I'm wondering whether Christ was even a male, to be very honest. Whether Christ was really a male. The blood. That's why I have done a presentation on this where he says, I am no man. He said that. He said that. I think it was just before he went on the cross. It is reported that he said that. That's the story of Christ we are talking about. I am no man. So I went on to exploring this text. Was it in Luke? Well, Matthew, I remember that the chapter of the book, but nowadays you can Google anything where it says, I am no man. I think it was chapter 20 of one of those books. And so if you are no man, which we all man, because then the man is there, because a womb man is still man. So if you're no man, like in reference to as they were saying, I am a womb. That's what he said. That's what Christ said. I am a womb. WORM. So we couldn't really deny that he was a man because we all are man. So basically saying, I am a womb man. And in that reference, a worm is that like the S, it's just about going everywhere. Those particles, those dots, doing its thing. So it's like saying, I can go down to the ground and I can rise up again. Oh my, I didn't. Now that is profound. That is profound. And that's what Christ was saying. Now that's what it is with the feminine divine as well, or the divine feminine. I put things, it doesn't matter. So basically, she's able to die of herself when she births, of course. there's, the placenta, she dies of that, and she regains her new cycle. And that's what Christ was, that's what the sacrifice, that's what the sacrifice was about. A new cycle. Sacrifice was a new cycle. He bled and died and rose again. Was Christ a man as we know as the divine masculine, or was he really not the divine feminine? Oh, it doesn't matter so much either, because we are of both feminine, masculine. The purpose of these debates or function that we are meant to display is really to help us balance ourselves. Balance. Unfortunately, the masculine have seen the balance only in the balls he plays, like football, basketball, baseball, cricket. And we go and we watch them play ball games. But there is more to get this balance, because they get knocked out, don't they? There is always someone getting knocked out or have lost and needs to be nursed, needs to be reminded of the gentleness and healing and forgiving and nurturing and restoration that is available from the divine feminine. Now, I've been wanting to do this Genesis chapter 1, verse 4, which is about the lights, but these are about lights as well. Now, I want to conclude this daughters, like daughters, because like Job had 3 daughters, so it's as if now I'm seeing how I have been. So I smile when I think about Job and his 3 daughters. So the daughters, they would be like dots. You put hair. There's a dot here. There's a dot. In fact, they are the daughters. They are the incubation of for bacteria to grow. You could say that. That's where the daughters would be they're incubations or incubators rather. Now, that is not to think less of ourselves, it's getting to understand the symbolism, the significance of our makeup. We can grow. It's like, we're bacteria and we can just decide, okay, depending on the environment that we have placed ourselves in, we can become cheddar cheese, we can become blue cheese, green cheese, or cheese. I'm thinking food, bacteria. Okay, cheese. It's no wonder when I don't know where this thing, it's good that we need to think about those things when you're taking a photograph and they say cheese. Where did that come from? Of course, you green when you say cheese, but it could be like, say green. Why didn't they say green? You know, cheese. That's it's like cheese, because cheese is bacteria, and when you say cheese you have seen that vibration out there that's supposed to light up. Oh, I just love this subject. So let's see what daughters is. We may do cheese as well, but daughters, DOTT, daughters, Daughters, would it be dot ORS? Daughter. You're a daughter or a daughter? Now, I'm not so sure about that now, but let's just see. We're having fun. No hard rules here now. So 4, 6, 2, 2, 6, 9. Okay, 6, 9 is 15. And 4 here, double 2 is 4. 15, that would be 19. And 10, so that would be 26. Daughters, daughter, daughter. I don't have daughters. 26. But if we have the S, that would be 9. But you see what I mean about 8? Because I have just done the numerical value for when we smile and we laugh. This is 4, and 4, that is 8. And of course, as I have showed you, we don't even have to go by the green and blue to come to 8, which is all part of all makeup as well, is when we take into consideration, that we are set. We are set. God set. It's like that, everything is so interrelated, and it's so beautiful when you can see, especially with the spirit of sound mind. Yes, my mind is quite sound now. No matter how you may perceive it to be, perceive it. It is, but that is set, God set, because I have been paying attention to this verse of the Bible. I think I have it right here, of course. Let's just look at this and just bear with me. Okay, so on verse, for instance, verse 17, and it says, and God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. So you see the word set. So the word set actually is 8. SET, right? S is 1, 5 is SET. So basically S is 1, 5, E is 5, and 2 is T is 2. Okay, so it's 8. And God is in direct relationship. So set. So when it says God set, it's like that's his title. That God, that is God's title, set, or his surname. Now we've heard about God's set. So this is the thing about we also learn that the Bible we have right now is a version of the stories that were taught in ancient times. So there we can see that there is an inclination clearly of that to be true, because here we see God's set. God is 17. It's written in verse 17, and the word set also equals 17. That is where God really set himself. The frame of God was really formed in motion right there as the number 8, as the number of the symbol of infinity. Of course, we know that, as I say, when 8 breaks, it's like it's taking us back into the, another function of it breaking again into 10. It's like the child is out of the womb. It's the motion here of the child coming out of the womb, the head and its feet, if you like, if it decides to come feet first. Some kids do that. They just want to stand, make their mark. They give their mothers a hard time because they just want to get on with it. Okay. And of course, and then the 9 is actually the process of that birthing. And when the child is actually out of the womb, as truth would be said, it is 10, mother and child. Okay, so I want to really wrap this here. So we see daughters is 8. As we were saying, for instance, the number 2 meaning 31. So daughters is 31 here, and we see that 2. So I'm talking about sons and daughters. So the sons would be giving light on the earth, and the daughters would be the incubation of those lights, the rays of light, if you like. The daughters, the fostering, and they are the ones looking at the sun and saying, okay, this is what you're doing now. You're shining here. How about shining over there? The son and the daughters marrying together in this sense. Now, if we were to also add the number 9 with the number 4, we can see again that's exactly what happens, because 4 plus 9 is 13, and this is exactly what happens here. Sons and daughters meet in number 13. Hence the sacrifice. This is the symbolic, the symbol of all of life is happening in number 13. Oh my. Now, I have been going on about number 5, of course, because there is the water. There's the water, not water's hair then, because we're talking about incubation. Nothing happens without water. Nothing at all happens without water. But here, when we talk about Eve, about waters, there's the S. There is the symbol, the B5. It's showing that the formation of what has happened in the number 13. It's the form. Waters is then denoting the form. It's like you can see not just water now, but there's the separate entities or aspects of waters, all in one of number 5. It's that position. Anyway, I love the idea that I was going to do a 20-minute presentation, which has turned out to be an hour plus 6 minutes or so. And but I love it. And I hope you do as well. So if you enjoy this presentation, please click the like button and share. And of course, oh, by the way, this is Adam here. In case you are new and wondering who's in the back, this is the divine masculine hair with his presence is here. So we can't do anything without acknowledging the Adam. I hope you have enjoyed this. I hope you have found it fun. I hope you have found it profound as well. Please click the like button and share, and do subscribe. Leave your comments, and let's just share our views on this and see how we can, because we are on this journey together. So see how we can really put our minds and views together and then fuse them together as well. So we can enjoy this journey of actualizing self-love. Be fulfilled, be ignited, because we are planting new seeds, and spill over with love. Namaste.